So today we are going to start this new topic, land surface processes parameterizations. Right? We have completed the radiation parameterization, and we were going very slow. It took 5 lectures to cover the radiation, but now I'm going to be fast. Okay, I'll try to cover this in one lecture today. Today also we have practical, right? So that also we shall look into it. So the land surface processes parameterization, as you know, is very important in the sense that the solar radiation, when it reaches the ground, then it faces many types of surfaces over the earth, right? Uh, it can be bare soil, it can be vegetated soil, it can be forest, it can be water bodies like ocean, river, lakes, okay? Then snow surfaces, tall trees, small trees, bushes, etc., etc. And all these things interact with the lowest layer of the atmosphere, according to their own properties. Right? What is the lowest layer of the atmosphere called? Can you say what is the lowest layer of the atmosphere called?
Surface
Yes,
layer.
exactly, surface layer. And what is the depth? Typically, depth of the surface layer?
To 100,
1 kilometer.
How much?
100 meters.
Yeah, approximately 100 meters is about 10% of the PBL depth. Total PBL depth is about 1 kilometer, so 10% of that is about 100 meters, right? So the land surface processes are very, very important because it modulates the surface layer characteristics, okay? And it has to be included in the model, in all the numerical models, whether it is a weather prediction model or the climate model, the land surface processes parameterizers are included, okay? So today we are going to discuss about how that is done, okay? So in today's lecture, we shall talk about the observational examples and relevance of the land surface processes to NWP. We shall discuss about the attributes of NCEP land surface physics NOAA model, milestones of land surface physics upgrades. Okay, so in the surface schemes, as you know, it directly affects the surface layer of the atmosphere. Okay, let me also switch on the pointer, laser pointer. Okay, so surface layer atmosphere, and it is modulated through the exchange coefficients of heat transfer or moisture transfer, even momentum transfer. Okay, the land surface scheme also provides the equations to predict the soil temperature, the soil moisture, okay, the snow cover, sea ice temperature, depending upon which type of land surface scheme we are using. Well, I mean, land surface schemes, many types of land surface schemes are available, starting from simplest one to the most complex one, right? Obviously, in the most complex one, we try to include everything that is available in the nature as much as possible, right? But in the simplest one, we just can consider just two-layer, or we say so, the bucket type of hydrology, etc. Okay, so this is the schematic diagram which illustrate the surface processes characteristics. Say, for example, we have got this land which is partly covered by the snow, and this is the water surface, maybe oceans, river, lake, etc. Okay, then we have got sensible heat flux going upward, the latent heat flux from the surface going upward directly into the surface layer of the atmosphere. Then we have got long wave radiation, the one which is absorbed by the surface is again emitted back upward. So long wave radiation, and the fluxes of the short wave radiation, the incoming solar radiation which is absorbed by the ground and also reflected by the ground. Then under the ground, we have got also many layers, right? Because the ground fluxes, they penetrate down, and accordingly the soil subsurfaces can get heated or moistened. Right? So there are now many layers below the ground which we consider in the model. I mean, depending upon what type of model, we have got different layers. For example, some models have got just 2 layers under the ground. Some models can have up to 5 layers over the ground, under the ground, and so on. So for each layer, the heat flux is exchanged, okay, with the lower layer, and similarly, the lower layer, so heat can be exchanged with the upper layer through the soil diffusion process, okay. So we have got substrate constant temperature at the lowest layer. When you go too much down below the earth surface, then temperature doesn't vary much. But in the layers which are very close to the surface, the temperature can vary, and also the moisture, soil moisture can also vary. Okay, so this diagram that illustrates different land surface processes used by different models at different places, like the NCEP model, the OSU, the Oregon State University model, the Air Force people, they also have their own model. So different organizations, they use different types of models, and which is illustrated here in this cartoon. So let us say, starting with the land surface, okay. As I said, the surface is divided into several subsurfaces. All right. The one which is closest to the ground, the earth, is the root zone. Okay, in which the roots of the trees which are there, they are extending up to that layer. Okay, then we've got subroot zone, and finally, the very lowest layer of the ground, earth surface. So this total depth of this layers, generally considered in the model, can be about 1 or 2 meters, not beyond that. We don't go beyond that under the soil, right? And there can be 2 or more layers also, depending upon the type of the model, right? So in the model, what we considered is that the state variables are the skin temperature of the soil temperature, the soil water, the soil ice. Then, depending upon the type of vegetation, whether they are perennial vegetations, or whether they are temporary seasonal vegetations, bushes, grasses, etc., etc. We have got different types of vegetations which are also used in the model. Generally, those types of vegetations are fixed. Sometimes we can have, say, 20 vegetation types, or sometimes we have got 24, 30, even 30 vegetation types are also there, included in the model, land surface model. And they're all stored in the memory in the sense that the properties of those vegetations are stored in tabulated form, and depending upon which grid point we are talking about, we are calculating according to that grid point. Now the vegetation which exists in that grid point, we take up the properties of that vegetation for that grid point. Okay, so depending upon how is the leaf area or foliage of the trees, we can have canopy water. Okay, the water can be stored in the canopy of the leaves of the trees. Okay, so, and those water can get evaporated. There can be evapotranspiration from the canopy water. Okay, so we have got the canopy water as one of the variables in the model, land surface model. Then we have got the snow water, okay, as one of the variables in the model. Snow density also has to be considered, because some snows are very packed and some snows are very loose. So we have to consider the snow density. Then the surface parameters, as I said, we have to consider different vegetation types. So we have vegetation types. Then we have to have the green vegetation fraction for each grid box. How much percentage of that grid box is covered by the green vegetation? So that is also one of the variables. The type of the soil is also very important, whether the soil is clay or sandy, red soil, black soil, and all kinds of soils are there. So the texture of the soil, that is also stored in the model as one of the variables. Then for the heat budget, of course, we have to consider the albedo, okay, the roughness of the surface, which is also important for the modulation of the momentum at the surface, momentum of the wind. Then albedo, of course, and the slope factor. Now, whether the land is a plain land or there is slopy land, because accordingly the water can flow, or water can just get locked down, or water can penetrate, infiltration can occur below the ground. All right. So as you know, when there is a rainfall, precipitation, then the first part of the precipitation starts getting absorbed by the soil, by the land surface, depending upon whether the soil is dry or wet. If it is dry, then most of the water, the precipitation or rainfall which comes. Hello. हेलो, मैं बाद में बात करूंगा. हाँ जी, बाद में बात करूंगा मैं क्लास में. Okay, so when the precipitation occurs, then depending upon the condition of the land, part of it gets absorbed or infiltrates below the ground. But when the land is or the surface is saturated, okay, especially during the rainy season, then the runoff takes place. Now you see the floods taking place. So that has to be considered. That is considered in the model. So, I'm sorry, I got interrupted. Are you all listening to me? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
And you can see the screen. Okay, great. So we're discussing about the surface runoff and infiltration. Okay, and we have already talked about the canopy evaporation. Okay, and so then we have got evaporation also directly from the soil. Okay, so this part of the moisture which is evaporated from the soil goes to the lowest layer of the atmosphere. Okay, and also in terms of these surface heat fluxes, it modulates the heat of the lowest layer of the atmosphere. Okay, and as you know, the heat, latent heat also, in fact, part of it is also exchanged by the lower layers of the soil. So similarly, the snow melt. Okay, when there is snow, then depending on the temperature, the snow can melt. and the smoke can get accumulated by other processes like by deposition. It can get evaporated, or it can turn into vapor by sublimation process. Okay. Then there is soil heat flux. Again, there is exchange of soil heat flux also with the lowest layer of the atmosphere and also with the under layers below the surface. Okay, and all these things, they enrich the internal soil heat flux and internal soil moisture flux of the ground. Okay, so then of course the radiation we have already talked in detail in the previous lectures, that the surface when it is heated by the earth's solar radiation, the earth's short wave radiation, then those processes, how much it gets heated, how much it gets absorbed, or how much it emits, also part of it has to be uh, accounted in the total heat budget of the soil. Okay, so these are the just summary of the land surface processes which are accounted for in the land surface model. Okay. So this is again another schematic diagram which depicts that how these are connected to each other, right? Like this is the land surface model, which is there in the complete GCM or the NWP model. Then we have got the PBL, right, planetary boundary layer, and we have got the part of it is the atmospheric surface layer. So between the atmospheric surface layer and the land surface model, we have got the exchange of heat and moisture. Then between the atmospheric surface layer and also the PBL, we have got the frictional stress, water surface fluxes of heat and moisture, and the land surface model also interacts directly with the PBL in terms of the land surface fluxes of heat and moisture. Okay, so this is a schematic diagram of how the three components interact with each other and how they are accounted for in the NWP models. So let's talk something about the land surface physics a little bit more in detail. So what are the goals of the improved land surface physics processes? Okay. The first is better diurnal cycle of surface heating and evaporation. That means 2 meter air temperature and 2 meter dew point temperature. Most of the models, because you know that there is a diurnal cycle, right? There is a diurnal cycle of the temperature and also of the surface pressure in the reality. And therefore, when we talk about the model, or when we model the atmosphere, or when we are trying to represent the land surface process model, then this diurnal cycle of the temperature must be represented accurately according to the natural variation of the diurnal temperature. And in most of the models, in fact, that is a problem. Most of the models, in times, are not able to represent correctly the diurnal cycle of the temperature, and that is because the land surface model in that NWP model probably is not proper or not accurate. So one of the important role of the land surface physics or land surface model is to correctly represent the diurnal cycle of surface heating and evaporation, which directly impact the temperature at 2 meter and the dew point temperature. You know that Stevenson's screen height is at 2 meter, right? 2 meter height. And when we say surface temperature, actually we mean the temperature at the 2 meter height, right? And you have seen probably also in that ERA data, there is a 2 meter temperature and 2 meter dew point temperature or specific humidity, because that's where we measure it. We also measure directly at the earth surface itself, soil temperature. But then there is a separate temperature, I mean thermometer for that. If you have seen in the observatory, I visited, some of you have visited the observatory of the IMD, might have noticed or might have seen that there is a soil thermometer, which is directly touching the earth surface, and there are soil thermometers, soil temperature thermometers, which are also dipped inside the ground, so that it should be able to measure the temperature of the earth at different layers of the at different depths, right? So this is the role, one of the objectives of the land surface process model, to be able to predict the diurnal cycle of temperature and moisture accurately. Then another objective is that it should be able to reproduce the diurnal growth and decay of the PBL. You know that PBL also has a diurnal variation, right? In the daytime, for example, the depth of the PBL increases, and in the nighttime, the PBL shrinks, right? So that is directly modulated by the Earth surface, right? Exchange of heat and moisture at the Earth surface, and of course, the incoming solar radiation also. So one of the goals of the land surface process model is also to be able to reproduce the diurnal growth and decay of the PBL. Then another goal is to improve or to provide improved convective indices forecasts, right? Better QPF, that is a quantitative precipitation forecast. Of course, if the land surface process is not correct, then eventually the rainfall which we try to calculate or predict from the model will not be correct. Right? It's, proper moisture will not go to the PBL from the land, and if the proper moisture and heat is not transferred, then the clouds will not form properly, and if the cloud is not formed properly, then there will not be no proper rainfall. So it also has a role, very important role to play in quantitative precipitation forecast, QPF. Then another objective is to expand use of model outputs for hydrological and agricultural applications. That means to calculate the runoff, snow belt, snow moisture, and temperature. Actually, many times the civil engineers, especially the civil engineers who specialize in water resources engineering, they are very much interested in the land surface model, because for them it is very important to know the surface runoff, and also the prediction of this flood forecasting, for example. So the flood forecasting, prediction of the runoff, etc. They are also of interest to the civil engineers who specialize in water resources forecasting. Okay, for hydrological applications and for agricultural applications, the agricultural meteorologists obviously they are very much interested in this land surface processes, schemes, and the models. So some of the notable examples are, examples of the influence of land surface processes on the atmosphere in both models and observations. Now we shall just try to depict the observed characteristics. For instance, this diagram, it shows the distribution of temperature and dew point over the land. This is one small part of the USA, some state, maybe it may be Colorado or some state of the USA. Okay, and it shows that how the temperature is distributed from place to place, how it is varying from one place to another place. This is the Colorado scheme in Fahrenheit. Okay, 31 to 52 degree Fahrenheit. So all these yellow and red areas are warm surfaces, and these are the cool surface or cold surfaces. Okay, green area are the cool surfaces. Okay, blue and green are cool surfaces. So this is, say, at local time 4:15 p.m. Okay, 4:15 p.m. And this is at another time at 12:45 p.m. So it shows basically that how the land surface temperature and moisture varies with time over the ground. Okay, just illustration for that from the actual observation. Now we know that when there is a vegetation or crop fields like wheat fields, etc., then we have got a relatively moist and cool PBL. Okay. Densely cultivated vegetation can increase the evapotranspiration, right? Whenever there is a vegetated land, whether it is because of the crops that we have in different seasons, which is cultivated in different seasons, evapotranspiration can increase where there are more crops or where there are more vegetations. The sun's energy used less for sensible heating. Okay, when the land is covered by lots of vegetation, then sun's energy is used less for sensible heating. The result is that the surface layer is more moist than the surrounding areas, okay, as much as by 10 degree Fahrenheit. So that means now the part of the surface, land surface, which is covered by vegetation, and the other part which is not covered by the vegetation, it can have a temperature gradient, and as much as that gradient can be as much as 10 degree Fahrenheit between the vegetated land surface and the non-vegetated land surface or bare land surface, bare ground. The result is that when there is a temperature gradient between the one part of the surface and the other part of the surface, like say for example, our university campus can have more vegetation. We have got some bushes, etc. in the university campus, and whereas if you go outside, on the highway, there is no bush, so there can be a temperature gradient, and when there is a temperature gradient, that can result in surface layer cooler than the surrounding areas by a few degrees. That means the surface layer of the atmosphere above the university campus will be cooler than that of the surface layer over the highway. Right, a simple example. This diagram illustrates the soil moisture. This is the USA, as you know. So this is for the month of July 1998. Okay, and it says that only 10% of the moisture is available over the region in this time, at this time of the year in July. Okay, these different colors, they indicate different amount of soil moisture. This is the scale given here on the left side. Alright, so where there is bare land, there the temperature will be more, and this diagram is showing the distribution of the surface temperature, okay, over the USA. The parts dry ground heats quickly under the afternoon insolation. Note the very warm ETA is a modern name, soil temperature over the Red River Valley. Okay, so you can see that this area is very much hot. These are the temperature scales. This area is very much hot, and that is because in that area, as you have seen in the previous, this is dry also. This area is also dry, so this is hot in this area. Okay, so the hot dry ground results in large sensible heat flux into the PBL with very hot 2-meter temperature, more than 40 degrees centigrade over the area. So over this area, obviously, the PBL will be more warmer. Okay, the 2-meter temperature over this area will be very warm, very high. So what does a land surface scheme do? It provides albedo for calculating the reflected short wave radiation, calculate the evapotranspiration, latent heat flux from the soil and vegetation canopy, provides ground surface skin temperature for determining surface sensible heat flux and upward long wave radiation. It determines the impact of snowpack on surface radiation and heat budgets. The upper spot is that it provides more realistic surface fluxes to PBL scheme than the other schemes which were used in the NGM, that is the nested grid model of NCEP NOAA, okay, which had the simpler treatments than compared to the present land surface process scheme which is used in the model. Right. So we shall briefly discuss some basic attributes of the land surface physics in the ETA model. You have heard of the ETA model name? Have you heard of the ETA model
Yes,
name?
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Like the WRF model, we have got ETA model, MM5 model, and we have many types of model. So we shall briefly discuss here the attributes of the land surface physics in the ETA model. There are got 4 layers, okay, and each layer is, say, first layer is 10 centimeter thick, other is next is 30 centimeter thick, then 60 centimeter thick, and then 100 centimeter thick, right? So the thickness of the layers are different, okay, and that is because in the layer which is closest to the Earth surface, there is a immediate impact of the land on that layer of the soil, so it is very thin, right? And as you go down deeper and deeper, then the effects reduces, right? So the depth of the layer also accordingly changes, right? The lowest layer, for example, is quite has a larger depth, 100 centimeter depth. Above that is 60 centimeter, above that is 30, above that is 10. So there are 4 soil layers considered in the ETA land surface physics scheme. Now it predicts the soil moisture and temperature, continuously updates the temperature and moisture at a cycle of 3 hours. At every 3 hourly cycle, it updates the temperature and moisture. That means it can have a land surface data estimation. Now, one is atmospheric data estimation, and other is the land surface data estimation. So many models they have only atmospheric data estimation. They don't have the land surface data estimation because very difficult to get the land surface data on daily basis, on real time basis. Like in order to simulate the data in the model in a continuous cycle like 3 hourly or 6 hourly cycle, we have to have the data of the soil temperature and soil moisture at every 3 hourly interval. Unless we have that, we cannot simulate it. And therefore, many models do not have this land surface data estimation. We have the atmospheric data estimation because we do have the atmospheric observations at every 3 hourly or even every 1 hour. But land surface data is not available so frequently generally. But nowadays, of course, because of the availability of the satellites, we have the continuous availability of the land surface data, and so we can simulate them in the model. And the recent models, say for example, the ECMWF model or the ANSEP models, they do have the land surface data simulation. Also in India, we are trying to test it, and especially in the WRF model, they got the provision for simulating the land surface data. That means the soil temperature and soil moisture. Okay, because it has got many options for different land surface processes scheme. Then this model, ETA model, has got explicit vegetation physics, in which it considers 12 types of vegetation classes over the domain of the ETA model. There is an annual cycle of vegetation greenness. That means the greenness varies according to the month, right? And there is an annual cycle for that. Some months are very green, like rainy season can have very green land, and there can be dry season when the land is not so green. So there is an annual cycle of the vegetation greenness. Then there is explicit snowpack physics in the ETA land surface process scheme model. Now, and what it does, it prognostically treats the snow melt. And more recently, it also considers the frozen ground, soil ice treatment, and patchy snow. Okay. It also explicitly treats the stream flow routing. Okay. So these are the attributes of the land surface process scheme or land surface physics in the ETA model. And generally, these things are also available in the other models. Like WRF model also has these features, having 4 soil layers depending on what scheme you are choosing. If you are choosing the NOAA land surface scheme, probably I got 5 soil layers. So depending upon what scheme you are choosing, we have also all these features available in the WRF model. Now, what are the key assumptions in the land surface model? For example, there must be a balance of the surface energy. Right? One of the key assumptions is that there must be a balance of the surface energy. And what is that? It said that the net radiation R. So we have to again choose the laser pointer. Okay. The net radiation R is a sum of heat flux, latent heat flux, and the ground heat flux. Rn is the net radiation, H is the surface sensible heat flux, Le is the latent heat flux, and G is the soil ground heat flux. So from this equation, we can write Rn minus G equal to H plus Le. That means the sum of the sensible heat flux and the latent heat flux is equal to the net radiation minus the ground flux. Okay, and this is the available energy for the turbulent fluxes. This is the available energy for the turbulent fluxes in the surface layer. What are the prognostic equations that are available? One prognostic equation is for the soil moisture, another prognostic equation is for the soil temperature. Okay, minimum 2 prognostic equations are there in in a very good soil land surface model. One predicts the soil temperature and the other predicts the soil moisture. Okay. So the prognostic equation for the soil moisture is given by this expression. In this case, theta is not the potential temperature. Yeah? Mind you, this is just a notation. In this case, theta represents the specific humidity, not the potential temperature. Okay. So del theta by del t here, that means del specific humidity by del time is equal to this variation of the moisture flux in the immediate depth of the soil, and vertical variation of the exchange coefficient plus f theta, f cube. That means basically the fluxes of moisture. And this is called the Richardson equation for soil water movement. The D and the K are the functions of soil texture. Okay, and f theta basically represent the surface rainfall and sinks, sources and sinks of the evaporation of the moisture. So rainfall is the source and evaporation is the sink of the moisture. So this is represented by this term f theta. So you just replace, because generally conventionally in our mind it is set up that theta is the potential temperature, but actually here it is indicating the specific humidity. Then similarly we have got the prognostic equation for the soil temperature, and this is given by this equation. Okay, C theta, here again this is exchange coefficient, del T, rate of change of temperature with time, is equal to the variation of the fluxes at the ground. Okay, where C, KT are the functions of soil temperature, soil texture, soil moisture, and soil temperature information is used to compute the ground heat flux. Okay, the soil temperature is used to compute the ground heat flux. These are other examples of the distribution of the soil texture in the land surface model. This is an example given over the USA. Okay, different types of soils. Okay, as I mentioned, sandy soil or clay, red soil, and so on. Then the land surface model also provides a good computation of the evapotranspiration. Okay, the total evapotranspiration E is sum of EDIR, which is direct evaporation from the soil, plus ET, which is transpiration through the plant canopy, and EC, which is the evaporation from the canopy intercepted rainfall. So the total potential evapotranspiration combinedly from soil and vegetation is the sum of these three terms: E direct evaporation from the soil, plus transpiration through the plant canopy, plus the evaporation from the canopy intercepted rainfall. Okay. The evapotranspiration basically, you said the flux is given by the flux of evapotranspiration is given by the ratio of the potential divided by the resistance. Typically, like the electrical charges transfer that we study in the electricity, in the physics. These terms represent a flux of moisture that can be parameterized in terms of the resistances to the potential flux, borrowing from the electrical physics, Ohm's law, right? In the electricity, in the physics, we study the Ohm's law, and we study that the transfer of charges or the current or the voltage that will depend upon the types of the metal, the resistance characteristics of the metal, right? Resistance. So here also we use the similar principle, and here the resistances are provided by the vegetation, the type of vegetation. Depending on what kind of vegetation is existing over the earth surface, accordingly it will provide the resistance. Some type of vegetations are very efficient for transferring the soil moisture to the atmosphere, and also absorbing the soil moisture from the atmosphere and transferring it to the ground surface. So the flux is the ratio of the potential divided by resistance. This is the concept taken from the electricity of the physics, Ohm's law. The potential evapotranspiration can roughly be thought of as the rate of evapotranspiration from an open pan of water. In the soil vegetation medium, what are some resistances to this? Okay, what are the resistances to this in the soil vegetation medium? One is the available amount of soil moisture. How much is the moisture available in the soil? That is one of the important factors which will modulate the evapotranspiration. The other is the canopy, stomatal resistance of the vegetation type, which is a function of the vegetation type and amount of the green vegetation. And third is atmospheric stability, wind speed, right? Because that also will modulate. If there is strong wind speed, then it will hamper in the exchange of the heat and moisture from the ground surface to the lowest layer of the atmosphere. Right? Also, depending on the stability, if the atmosphere is unstable, then there will be a rapid exchange of heat and moisture from the ground surface to the atmosphere. But if there is a stable atmosphere, then the exchange will not be so rapid, so efficient. Then there are canopy resistance issues. For example, the canopy transpiration is determined by the amount of photosynthetically active green vegetation, the green vegetation fraction, partitions direct from the bare soil and from the vegetated soil, evaporation from the canopy transpiration, etc. So the canopy transpiration is determined by these factors. Okay, and this is calculated in the land surface model. This is given by this ratio. That means ET, the potential evapotranspiration, divided by E direct evaporation, is a function of sigma F, which is this green vegetation fraction. Sigma F is the green vegetation fraction. So this is a function of the green vegetation fraction. The green vegetation fraction in the ETA model is based on 5-layer NDVI. You know NDVI, which is directly measured by the satellite. Climatology.
Yes, sir.
Monthly value. Depending on the monthly climatology of NDVI measured by satellites, we make the climatology of that, and that is used in the model. And many models also use that way, based upon the past data or the climatological data of NDVI. We store that at different grid boxes at different grid points, and then we utilize that whenever we are doing the calculation for that grid point. So not only the amount, but the type of vegetation determines the canopy resistance. Obviously, I mean, because in a grid box, a typical grid box, let us say we have got a grid box of 10 kilometer by 10 kilometer area. Now, in that grid box, we can have very dense vegetation type, or we can have very few vegetation, very few trees or plants inside the grid box of 10 kilometer by 10 kilometer area. So, depending upon the amount of the vegetation, the density of the vegetation, and also the type of the vegetation, the canopy resistance is determined. Okay, and is given by this expression. The canopy resistance RC is the ratio of RC minimum divided by all these things, leaf area index times F1, F2, F3, and F4. So this is how we calculate the canopy resistance in the model. Okay, canopy resistance in the model, which depends upon the density and type of the vegetation in that grid box. Okay, and is given by this expression. Further, in that expression, the RC minimum is the function of the vegetation type, as we said earlier. The canopy resistance is a function of the vegetation type. F1 is the drawing power of the sun. F2 and F3 represent the drawing power of the air mass, and F4 represent the soil moisture stress. Okay, soil moisture stress. So the canopy resistance depends upon all these factors. Thus, hot air, dry soil, and strong insolation lead to the stressed vegetation. Because a lot of evapotranspiration will occur, and the vegetation will feel stressed. Okay. The ETA model uses database of 12 separate vegetation classes. We have already said that earlier. 12 classes of vegetation used in the ETA model. But I think in WRF model, we have about 24 classes in the WRF model. especially the one which uses the NOAA land surface scheme, that uses 24 classes of vegetation. In MM5, I think there used to be 30 classes of vegetation in MM5 model. Right. So these are the things. There is a very interesting paper for this. Those of you who want to read and understand more deeply, you can read that paper by, I think his name was Pierre Seller. The author's name is Pierre Seller. I can give you the reference now, exact reference for that. Now, the Pierre Seller he is a very interesting person. Pierre Seller, he wrote that paper called SIB, S-I-B, SIB. Full form of SIB is Simple Biosphere Model. SIB, Simple Biosphere Model. And the paper was published sometime back in mid-80s or early 90s maybe. And it's a very interesting paper now. If you read the paper, you will feel very interesting because it treats all kinds of vegetation and then the calculation of this resistance. As I mentioned that the way the heat and moisture is exchanged through the ground to the surface layer, through the plants and vegetation. That plants and vegetation acts like the resistances, like the resistance of the wire in the electricity. And so he used those concepts and calculated those evapotranspirations, sensible heat fluxes and electric fluxes. And that person, Pierre Seller, our background, he is an electrical engineer, turned into atmospheric science, and that too specialized in the land surface processes model. Generally, I know many civil engineers who are interested in this, but that person, Pierre Seller, being an electrical engineer, he get interested. And the most interesting thing is that, that person became an astronaut. That Pierre Seller, he became an astronaut later, and he went to the space also. You have got those, space stations, about the space stations, right? The Skylab, etc. You have heard of that?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, NASA and many space agencies, they send this space stations they're hanging about 200 to 300 kilometers above the ground, and they do a lot of experiments. So this person, he went to the space, Skylab, became an astronaut, and see his career, how it moved from a electrical engineer, basically from UK, then immigrated to USA, and then he joined NASA, and then started working in atmospheric science, and then that too in the land surface process model, wrote a very nice paper on SIB, Simple Biosphere Model, and eventually he became an astronaut. So people's career, they change like that, interestingly. So anyway, this is the diagram which shows the types of vegetation over the US lands. Okay, so these are the colors which indicate different types of vegetation here indicated here, right? Now red color, green, yellow, etc. That indicates the types of vegetation distribution. We had a project long back, about 15, 20 years ago. We had got a ISRO project. You might have heard about the ISRO GBP. Have you heard about the ISRO GBP? ISRO had a project called Geosphere Biosphere Project, GBP, Geosphere Biosphere Project. Okay, so under the ISRO GBP, ISRO gave tasks or research projects to different institutions and also the laboratory. NCMRWF also, we were participating in that ISRO GBP project, under which what we tried to do was, because most of these vegetation data, the land surface characteristics, the soil type, temperature, soil types data, most of them, they are used based on the USGS data. Okay, but the USGS data, of course, cover the whole globe, but sometimes the data is not very accurate everywhere on the Earth's surface. And of course, many things are determined based on the satellite observations, like vegetation type, vegetation covers, etc. That determined based upon satellite observations of past many years, and we form a climatology of that vegetation climatology. So we felt that about 15, 20 years ago, that the soil vegetation data, the soil type, soil characteristic data, vegetation data over the Indian region is not so accurate, because that was prepared by the USA and based upon the old data from the satellite. So we should have our own data of the land surface processes, vegetation, etc., based upon the latest satellite observations over India. Nowadays, we have got many satellites observations over India. So ISRO gave this project, and we also participated in that from NCM RWF way back in, I think, early 2000. No, in mid about 2005 or 6, I think, probably. Yeah, and we wrote a very good report on that. We also published some good paper in the journal from that research. So based upon that, now we tried to use land temperature characteristics over India, the surface temperature climatology over India, the surface vegetation climatology over India, and then try to put into the model that when we use the land surface characteristics made by the ISRO project GBP versus the land surface characteristics used from the USGS, how does the model produces the result? And obviously, when we use the land surface data based upon our own observations of satellite, then it's supposed to be more accurate, and so the results were better. We could show that the rainfall was produced better, the soil temperature, the diurnal cycle, etc., were produced better when we use our own land surface data. Okay, so this is an example of the US land surface vegetation distribution. Then annual time series of the green fraction over Oklahoma's Wheat City. Okay, you can see that now how the green fraction varies with month. This is the month on the x-axis from January, February, March till December, and this is the green fraction cover. So in the month of March, April, when there is a spring, they have a spring there in the USA, they have got the maximum greenness because lots of flowers they blossom in the springtime, and the earth is more greener. So the green fraction is more in the springtime. And similarly, we also have the variation of the green fraction over Indian region. Okay, so early spring has intense green up. Then there is a repeat sensations, variation, harvesting and return of the land to near bare soil by early summer. Okay, so when the land is bare, when there is no vegetation, there is no crop, when all crops are harvested, then the greenness decreases to the minimum. Okay, like here, the greenness is minimum during the month of August, September for the USA. But whereas in our case now, in the month of July, August, September, we have got the monsoon, right? And in the monsoon, we have got more vegetation, right? So our green will be different. Green fraction will be different than the USA. And we will have more greenness in this month than compared to the USA, right? So this is the albedo, snow-free albedo. That means albedo without snow in the ETA model over USA. Okay, in the month of July, and this is the scale for that. This is a snow cover treatment. Why it is so important? Because it is it has a marked effect on the albedo and hence the surface fluxes. The snow cover, this is ice product from NESDIS, part of the NCEP, NOAA. Analysis ingested daily at 00 UTC into the NCEP model. Well, NESDIS, like our ISRO has also got many offices, right? So, for example, SAC, Space Application Center, or IIRS, Dehradun, right? Or NRSA at Hyderabad, right? So, determining the types of vegetation, soil, characteristics, etc. Generally, that is the task or responsibility of the NRSA. You have heard of the NRSA? Have you heard of the NRSA?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
National
NRSA, Remote Sensing Agency, Hyderabad, right? Part of the ISRO. So NRSA is responsible for all these things now. So similarly, USA has got the NESDIS part of the NOAA. Okay, and they provide the data of snow covers, sea ice products, which is ingested in the model at 00 UTC once a day, because these types of variables do not change so rapidly, like the other atmospheric data, like temperature or humidity or wind speed, wind direction that we assimilate in the model, which varies, which can vary every 1 hour, half an hour. These data do not vary so rapidly every half an hourly or hourly. So just once a day, if you insert, that is good enough. Then there is a prognostic snow depth during the eta integration calculation, but not in the NGM. This is another model, nested grid model. So in this model, there is no prognostic snow depth calculation. Okay. And the available energy for snow melt is computed from surface energy balance assumptions. Okay, in the eta model. This is another example of the snow information in the eta model over the North American continent. Okay, at 23 kilometer horizontal resolution over the northern hemisphere, produced daily by human analysis, the snow information. And I got multiple data sources. The data which it uses are from GOES satellite, SSMI snow cover, station reports, and ICS ice cover, ABHRR visible. So from all these different satellite products, from this different multiple data sources, they produce daily analysis of this snow cover, snow information over the North American continent. Okay, and this is the task of the NESDIS, right? Like our NRSA is supposed to do that. Of course, we don't have much soil data, much snow over the Indian region, except over the mountains, high mountains. Now, in these slides, what is the time? We are supposed to also discuss something about the practical today. It's 12:45. I'll try to finish now this part in another 5-10 minutes or so. Okay. So now in the next few slides, I'll try to just discuss about how the land surface process model is incorporated in the WRF model. Okay. Of course, as you have now seen by now, through this land surface model, we try to compute the heat, moisture, and momentum fluxes, okay, at the ground, which are given by these expressions. The heat flux given by this expression, rho Cp times U star theta star. The flux of moisture is given by this expression, rho U star Q star, and tau, the momentum flux, is given by this one, rho U star, where these are defined here. U star is defined as U star is equal to ratio of KVR divided by log of ZR divided by Z naught minus Im, and similarly for the moisture, now theta star is defined by like this. Here moisture is represented by Q star, and Q star is defined by like this one. Okay, where the subscript R is the reference level, that is lowest model level, which is 2 meter for the temperature and the moisture, and 10 meter for the wind, because you know that wind is measured at 10 meter height, not at 2 meter, right? Only temperature and moisture is measured at 2 meter. Z naught are the roughness lengths. Okay, so this is how the surface fluxes of heat, moisture, and momentum is calculated in the land surface model. Now, another important parameter is called the roughness length. You have studied this roughness length. I remember in last semester we discussed about that in the PBL. So the roughness lengths are a measure of the initial length scale of surface eddies, and generally differ for velocity and scalars. So depending upon the soil type, soil coverage of the vegetation, also it can vary with the wind speed. The roughness length can vary, right? The roughness length depends on land use type. Some schemes are similar, use a smaller roughness length for heat than the momentum. For water points, roughness length is a function of the surface wind speed. Okay. So you should go back and study your notes. I remember we had discussed about this in the first semester in the atmospheric physics of the atmosphere course. We also discussed something about the PBL. Do you remember that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, sir.
Therefore, the PBL parameterization I'm not going to cover here, in this semester, because You have already studied that in the last semester. I have already given you in PowerPoint also. I had given you. Did you have the PowerPoint on the PBL, which I had taught in the?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Exactly. So you already have the PowerPoint for the PBL. So that part I'm going to skip now in this semester. So in that we have discussed in detail about the roughness length. Okay, go back and refer to your old notes. You will find there. Then the exchange coefficient, CHS, is the exchange coefficient for heat defined by this expression H equal to product of this rho Cp CHS theta. It is related to the roughness length and U star by this expression. Okay, in the model. So just like radiation parameterization, different options you can choose. There are many options available in the model, WRF model, and you can choose those options according to your need and requirement. What type of land surface process scheme you want to use, whether you want to use a simple land surface process scheme or a complex one, that is up to you, depending upon the availability of data for you and also computational resources, computation time. Right? You can use accordingly the complexity in the land surface process physics. If you choose the option 1 for surface layer physics, then it will use the Monin-Nabokov similarity theory. This Monin-Nabokov's similarity theory we have discussed in the PBL in the last semester, first semester. So you should read. It's not that you have read in the first semester, so you should forget that. You should study that even in this semester also, because we can have questions on Monin-Nabokov similarity theory even now. Also. So it's taken from the standard relations used in the MM5 MRF PBL. Okay, basically borrowed from the MM5 PBL. It provides the exchange coefficients to surface land scheme. Should be used with PBL physics equal to 1 or 99. Okay. And like that, there are different options. If you choose the second option, then it will use the Monin-Nabokov similarity theory with these parameterizations, like is a modified scheme due to the Janik. Janik is the name of the person, right? Janik. So he modified the surface process scheme. It still uses the Monin-Nabokov similarity theory, but the modified version of that by Janik is also taken from the standard relations used in the NMM, the nested mesoscale model, including this is the name of the person, okay, thermal reference length, and should be used with PBL physics. These are the cautions because people they have experienced that they don't use this combination, then they will get errors. The model will stop or it will not run. Okay? Because certain inputs which are required for these schemes can be obtained only when you use a particular combination of these options. When you use the third option, then it uses GFS, Monin-Nabokov similarity theory, and these are the specifications for that. When you use the option number 4, then it uses the QNSC, Monin-Nabokov similarity theory, with these options. Okay, slowly it becomes more and more complex. Like MYJ is a very complex scheme. Miller-Yamada Janik surface scheme. We have talked about that a little bit in the PBL parameterization scheme. Miller-Yamada Janik is a 1.5 order closure scheme. You can refer back to your old notes, PowerPoint, you will find that. Then if you use this option 5, then it uses again the Monin-Nabokov similarity theory based upon MY and then Miller-Yamada scheme version 3.1. Okay. Then if you use the option number 7, then is the plane juice surface layer, and this is one of the very popular scheme, plane juice surface scheme. And certain PBL type of parameterization if you are using, then you must use the plane juice scheme, otherwise that PBL will not work. So if it uses the plane juice land surface model and ACM PBL, okay, climate model PBL, it should be used with surface layer physics equal to 7 and PBL physics boundary layer physics as 7. Both options must be 7 in that. Okay. Then you use this option, another one, surface physics option 1, and this is using 5-layer thermal diffusion model for the MM5. Okay, and it has got all these features, like it predicts the ground temperature and soil temperature, thermal properties which depend on land use, low effect for water, no soil moisture or snow cover prediction, moisture availability based on the land use only, provides heat and moisture fluxes for the PBL. It may be available for NMM in version 3. We use this one too. This is another most popular scheme, NOAA land surface model scheme. Okay, you use the SF surface which is equal to 2, that means you are choosing the NOAA land surface process scheme. The unified ARW LMM version. So in this model, land surface model, the vegetation effect is included. It predicts the soil temperature and soil moisture in 4 layers under the soil, under the ground. It predicts the snow cover and the canopy moisture. It handles fractional snow cover and frozen soil. It diagnoses skin temperature and uses emissivity, provides the heat and moisture fluxes for PBL. Okay, it uses this 2.2 version. It's 2.2 version as a urban canopy model option. Okay, so this is one of the most popular scheme that people use, NOAA land surface scheme. Okay, but you have to have the data for that to be able to use this model. You have to have the soil data of temperature and moisture. Okay, at different layers under the soil, under the ground. Okay. So like that, you can just go through. I'll make you the PowerPoint and go through the different options. Have different features which are discussed there. Okay, this is the RUC, rapid update cycle land surface model. Here is option 3. Option 7, as I said earlier, it is a plain view land surface model. Okay, another popular scheme besides the NOAA land surface model. Okay, then there is a table also used in the land surface model, which stores different types of data, like types of vegetation. For example, 24 categories of vegetation I mentioned that in the WRF model uses 24 categories of the vegetation. Okay, derived from the MODIS data. Okay. At 30 second is like almost like 1 kilometer interval data. Each type is assigned summer, winter values, albedo, emissivity, reference length, all those things. Okay. Other table properties include thermal inertia, moisture availability, snow albedo, etc. are used for by the 5-layer model. Okay, so these are the characteristics which are stored in a table when we use the land surface model. Then how the models are initialized, as I said, you must have the basic data. If you are trying to assimilate the land surface data, that means you have to have the basic data available at every 3 hourly or every hourly, depending on what cycle you want to use. The data of soil temperature, the data of soil moisture at all the vertical levels under the ground, the data of snow liquid equivalent, etc. Okay, so there are the descriptions for that. To skip these things. Okay, I can just read these things now. Just self-explanatory slides. SST update. The question is that how frequently you should update the SST, right? And again, depends on for what purpose you are using. If you're using for weather forecasting, short range forecasting, then probably you don't have to update the surface sea surface temperature so rapidly, because it does not change much daily. Even once a day is fine. Okay, you use this option, the SSD update equal to 1, then read the lower boundary file periodically to update the sea surface temperature. Otherwise, it is fixed with time. Earlier, or 10-15 years ago, we were using the SST climatology only. We were not using the SST analysis on a daily basis because we didn't have the data for that. But now, recently, the INQUAS, right? Have you heard of the INQUAS?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, exactly. INQUAS also in Hyderabad, like NRSA is in Hyderabad, INQUAS is also in Hyderabad. So now INQUAS, after the establishment of INQUAS by the Ministry of Earth Sciences, INQUAS has got actually its task is to maintain all the ocean data about Indian region. So INQUAS maintains this SST and all sorts of ocean data beside the NIO, which is in Goa, National Institute of Oceanography. So all these buoys, etc., buoys data, etc., they are all maintained by the INQUAS. And INQUAS also does the daily analysis. Now it runs the ocean model. Because just like we have got the atmospheric model, there is also ocean model. And when we use the coupled model, then we have to use both atmosphere and ocean model. So in fact, at NCMRWF also, the ocean part is provided by the NQuas, and we run the atmospheric part. So the data simulation of the ocean is done by the NQuas, and the simulated data is provided by NQuas to NCMRWF and to IMD, so that now we use the coupled model and run it at NCMRWF. So I'll just like that, task is divided because they're all under the same ministry, whether it's NCMRWF or IMD or IITM or NQuas. So task is distributed. Ocean part is given to NQuas, atmospheric part is given to NCMRWF, especially the modeling part, the medium range modeling. Data simulation also is given to NCMRWF. IMD, basically the operational forecasting agency, so it just uses all the products. IITM is also a research agency, so it also does the developmental work. Nowadays, the NCMRWF uses only the NCOM model that you know, and all the GFS, which is based upon the NCEP, is used by the IITM. So they have got different models, and which is useful for the ensemble forecasting, especially when we do the multi-model ensemble forecasting, then that is useful for that. Okay, so I just go through the slides. I'll mail you. When you are running the model for hurricane application, that is for the cyclone, then we need to have some special treatment of the ocean mixed layer, because ocean is so important for the cyclogenesis. Right? So when we are trying to predict the cyclogenesis or predict the track of the cyclone, then we have to have a very good data observation of the ocean. And so we use the ocean mixed layer model. We like to use the ocean mixed layer model. So when we are using the model to predict the track of the cyclone, better use these options in the land surface scheme. So, and these are the options given here. Okay, you can just go through yourself. Fractional CI is, well, for us it is not important, but for a global model is very important, because more you go towards north, toward the pole, and these things become very important. But for us now, or the Indian region, CIs is not there, or the Indian Bay of Bengal or Arabian Sea, there is no CIs. Okay, so we have completed the land surface processes parameterization in today's lecture. Okay, and it's already 1 o'clock, I see. So our plan was that in the next half an hour, because today is 2 hours class, right? Next half an hour, we should use, we should discuss about the practical. Are you all there?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
right. So now in the next half an hour, or maybe 45 minutes, we can discuss about the practical. Okay. So one by one, I'll talk to you. What is the progress? I see that now all of you are not making uniform progress. Some of you have done quite good progress, and some of you are still lagging behind. I see, for example, Anish mailed me. Anish, are you there? Anish,
Yes, sir. Yes,
are you there? Can you switch on your video?
yes, sir.
Yeah. Switch on your video. Or your video is not working, I don't know. Yes.
Sir.
So I think you mailed me just yesterday or day before yesterday, right? All the vertical levels which I had asked you guys from 1000, 850, 700. You mailed me. I have not found time to see your mail yet. I was so busy for last 2 days because of this ozone day celebration. So I could not see your results. But you said that you have been able to plot the wind fields, wind vectors at all the levels, right? Are you able to hear me? Or you are disconnected? I see your image is stand still. I think you are disconnected. Also, your mic is mute.
Hello.
Anis, are you hearing me? Can you hear me? Anis? Or you
Hello,
switch
sir.
off your video?
Can I come, sir? Can I come without video, sir?
Yes, okay, fine. Fine. All right. So, are you able to hear me clearly now? No, your mic is mute. Your mic is also
Sir,
mute.
can you repeat once, please?
I asked that you sent me a mail yesterday or day before yesterday with your results, showing that you could plot the wind vectors at all the levels in the vertical 11 levels which I asked you, right, from 1000 to 100 millibar. So you have plotted successfully all those levels.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good, very
I
good.
plotted successfully.
Yeah, very good. I think
I have compared with NC data also, sir. With
not
NC plot.
not NC plot. I wanted it from that text file. From text file, I mean conversion from NC data to your text file in the
Sir,
ASCII format.
actually, I plotted with both of them, and I plotted with NC to show whether my
Okay.
plot, whatever I plotted,
Okay.
which is right or wrong.
Okay.
For
Okay.
comparing
Good.
purpose, yes, sir.
All right. Very good. So basically, for comparison, you also verified your plots with the NC files, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Great. So can you share your results and so to all of us how the wind vectors they look like at different levels? I'm going to switch off my presentation. I'm going to stop my presentation, and you can share your files. Okay. Share your result. Stop presentation. Okay. Your mic is off again. Anish, your mic is muted here. Can you share your presentation? Anish?
Yes, sir. Actually, I'm from phone. I switch on your on my laptop, sir, for presenting my screen, sir.
अजी हाँ भाई पहले भी बात किया था ना तुमने पहले ही बोला था ना नहीं तो बताया था उसको क्या नाम है उसका नाम है माधव सिंह को बोला था कि उसके पीटीएम पे मैं डाल दूंगा वो उसे तुम ले लेना क्या बात करा दिया था मुझे चले गए तो फिर कैसे होगा यार क्योंकि फिर दिक्कत होती है क्योंकि अभी तो मैं वैसे भी क्लास में हूँ मैं तो क्लास में भी पढ़ा रहा हूँ बच्चों को अब कितना का है वो भाई 200-400 होता है तो कोई बात नहीं कितने का है ये 1029 का है तो कहीं 1026 का भाई तुम मुझे एसएमएस करके भेज दो मैं मेरा फोन नंबर है तुम्हारे पास मेरा फोन नंबर है तुम्हारे पास हाँ तो कैसे बात कर रहे हो हमसे कहाँ पे अच्छा उस नंबर पे मैं पेटीएम कर दूंगा तो हो जाएगा तो ठीक है वो नंबर भेज दो हाँ जी हाँ यूपीआई से कर दूंगा यूपीआई से कर दूंगा भाई उसमें यूपीआई हाँ तो वो फोन नंबर दे दो और कितना अमाउंट है 1000 कितना बता रहे हो 10 कितना बता रहे हो हाँ तो वो भी लिख देना कि इतना अमाउंट है रुपया और ये फोन पे का नंबर है ठीक है तो वो मेरे नंबर पे तुम एसएमएस कर दो मेरा फोन नंबर है तुम्हारे पास तो लिखो 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 मेरा फोन नंबर लिखो 7427 हाँ 427 80 4360 ओके हाँ जी Yeah, sorry. Anis, are you there? Anis? क्या हो गया वो?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Are you carrying your file?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You show me your program code also. Okay, program
Yes,
code
sir.
which are used to convert, and then the win vectors for all languages.
This is my Fortran program, sir.
बहुत छोटा दिख रहा है Fortran program.
Yes, sir.
Can you little bit move to the right side? Okay. Yeah, so I can see that. So तुमने सारा एक ही दिया K I J K J I J K okay read कर लिया तुमने read कर लिया फिर write भी कर दिया write कर दिया okay very simple program no it's very compact and very simple program so very good so you read the data in the FT format and you wrote it in the graph format that's it isn't it for one time step for all the vertical levels right so ठीक है so now you show me the result in vectors
Hello.
yeah fine I've seen your program and show me your CTL file also
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
okay you can see your CTL file so you've got two variables for 11 levels UV component and all these levels 1857 654 32 52 100 very good so very good so now you show me क्या तुम्हारे पास कोई ग्राड्स का स्क्रिप्ट है या मैनुअली किया था सारा
Yes, sir. Grads manual है.
मैनुअली ग्राड्स का प्लॉट किया था या स्क्रिप्ट लिख करके किया था प्लॉट जो किया
सर स्क्रिप्ट की हेल्प से किया मैंने.
स्क्रिप्ट किया था तो
सर ग्रेड्स मैनुअल की हेल्प से किया उसके अंदर जो भी प्रॉपर वे में लिखा था उस हिसाब से किया सर.
एक करके किया मतलब मैनुअली किया तुमने इसका तो तुम्हारे पास है वो फाइल्स जो तुमने विन वेक्टर से बनाए थे सभी लेवल के लिए
सर साउंड क्लियर नहीं आ रहा. एक मिनट.
तुमने जो विन वेक्टर प्लॉट किया था वो है तुम्हारे पास और यू हैव टू अगेन
हाँ यस सर. एक्सेल फाइल सर जो मैंने एक्सट्रैक्ट किया था जिससे डाटा
विन वेक्टर
विंड वेक्टर.
हां
यस सर. Sir, I took one time step for 105, sir. I take T is equal to 105, sir, for all levels.
ठीक है that's fine you just show me the wind vectors directly
Wind vectors. Okay, sir.
यही तो मैं कह रहा हूँ तुम्हारे पास तुमने सेव किया है कि नहीं किया विन वेक्टर तुमने सेव नहीं किया है
हाँ सर पिक्स सेव नहीं किए.
हाँ वही तो मैं कह रहा था
स्क्रीनशॉट ले रखा है सर. मैं स्क्रीनशॉट दिखाऊं आपको.
और
मैं यहाँ प्लॉट करके दिखा देता हूँ.
प्लॉट का कमांड खोल
Yes, sir.
850 मिलीवाट को दिखा
हाँ,
दो 850 मिलीवाट को
अच्छा सर.
ओके वेरी गुड सो तुम्हारा कौन सा केस था ये निशा
हाँ सर निशा.
ओके सो फ्रॉम सो आई कैन सी दिस आई डोंट विन वेक्टर्स एडजस्ट करना पड़ेगा बदल सके नाउ यू शो मी द 500 मिलीवाट प्लॉट कौन से मिलीवाट के
1000 सर.
500 मिलीवाट
100.
500 500 500
Okay, sir. 500.
okay so you see the circulation is still there people are 500
Yes, sir.
right और मुझे 200 मिलीवाट दिखाओ
सॉरी सर।
Okay, so there is no calculation. Now is all divergence. Okay, inside the calculation. तो यहाँ पे
Yes.
वेक्टर के बदले में तुम हमको स्ट्रीम लाइन दिखाओ।
स्ट्रीम यस सर।
Okay, so you can see that there is an inside one. Or the Bay of Bengal, there is an inside one calculated, right? And similarly, 850 के बराबर पे दिखाओ हमको स्ट्रीम लाइन। और
Yes.
700 डिवाइड दिखाओ। ये एक शब्द ठीक है।
700 यस। यस सर।
Right, so very nice. So you can see very nice cyclone here on the Bay of Bengal, and ऊपर में एक inside one है, what Tibet. So you have done it successfully at all the levels. I see that you have been able to extract the data from there, the ST value,
यस सर।
and also you can convert it into the format and then you plot it for all the levels. Very good. So fine, तुम्हारा हो गया. Now I will go to the next person. Sayoni,
Sir, I have a question.
tell me.
Anish,
हाँ बोलो।
एक्सेल फाइल से किस फॉर्म में टेक्स्ट फाइल में कन्वर्ट किया? प्लीज बता सकता है तुम?
एक्सेल फाइल से मैंने किस फॉर्म में कन्वर्ट किया?
कैसे कन्वर्ट किया?
कैसे कन्वर्ट किया? एक मिनट, मैं एक्सेल फाइल दिखाता हूँ पहले।
ऐसे बोल के
जैसे
बता
ये
दो ना
एक्सेल
कि
फाइल है,
पहले
इसमें
सारा।
सबसे पहले मैंने एक टाइम स्टेप के लिए लिया मैंने 105 का। 105 टाइम स्टेप में हर लेवल का है, जैसे 1 से लेकर 11 तक। तो इसमें 1 जो है वो 100 लेवल है और 11 जो है वो 1000 लेवल है। फिर मैंने 1000 लेवल के लिए इसी तरीके से u और v का वैल्यू, मतलब ये u का है हर टाइम स्टेप का हर लेवल का, मतलब एक टाइम स्टेप का हर लेवल का, v का एक टाइम स्टेप का हर लेवल का। फिर मैंने हर लेवल के लिए अलग अलग निकाला डाटा और फिर मैंने इंटरचेंज किया, क्योंकि वो साउथ टू नॉर्थ था, मैंने उसको सॉरी नॉर्थ टू साउथ था, तो मैंने उसको साउथ टू नॉर्थ किया।
पूरे मैट्रिक्स को तूने रिवर्स किया है ना?
हाँ, मैट्रिक्स को रिवर्स किया
ठीक
हर
है,
लेवल
फिर
यू के लिए भी। और
उसके बाद
उसके बाद मैंने इसको किया। हाँ हेलो।
हाँ, आगे
इसके बाद मैंने इसको सबको सेलेक्ट करके एक प्रॉपर फाइल, एक फाइल में मर्ज किया। मतलब मैंने एक और एक्सेल फाइल बनाई, या मैं इसमें एक और सीट इंसर्ट कर सकता था। उसके अंदर मैंने पहले यू की वैल्यूज हर लेवल्स के लिए पुट की, और मैंने ये ध्यान रखा कि पहले मुझे बॉटम से टॉप पे जाना है। तो सबसे पहले मैंने 1000 के लिए पुट किया, फिर 850, फिर 700, इसी तरीके से सो ऑन। पहले यू का कंप्लीट होगा, फिर उसके बाद वी के लिए कंप्लीट किया 1000 से 100 तक।
ओके, पर जब इसको टेक्स्ट फाइल में पेस्ट करना था, तूने पहला सारा यू वाला उठा के पेस्ट कर दिया, फिर सारा वी वाला?
अब मैंने जो एक अलग से सीट बनाया, उसमें मैंने प्रॉपर अरेंजमेंट में इसको कंप्लीट कर दिया था। तो फिर मैंने पूरा उसी को कॉपी किया, मतलब यू का और वी का दोनों को मैंने मर्ज करके किया था। पहले यू का कंप्लीट किया हर लेवल के लिए, फिर वी का, उन सबको कॉपी किया एक ही बार में, फिर टेक्स्ट फाइल में पेस्ट कर दिया।
टेक्स्ट फाइल में अब जो तेरी फाइनल टेक्स्ट फाइल है, उसमें सारा पहले ऊपर वाली वैल्यू सारी यू की दिखेंगी मैट्रिक्स में, फिर नीचे सारा जो मैट्रिक्स है वो वी का दिखेगा, ऐसे?
हाँ ऐसे।
ओके, थैंक यू।
Anish, I had a query. Anish, मेरा क्वेश्चन है।
हाँ
ये जो तूने टेक्स्ट फाइल में लिखा है, 10 से लेवल 11 से 11 तक गया है ना, क्योंकि 11th लेवल इज 1000 हियर, है ना? तो इन अदर वर्ड्स तूने इंडिविजुअली एक एक प्रेशर लेवल को कन्वर्ट किया है, या पूरा डायरेक्ट 11 से लेके 1 तक को पूरा एक बार में उल्टा कर दिया है?
इंडिविजुअली मैंने हर लेवल के लिए किया है। मैंने 22 टाइम्स किया है, 10 बार यू के लिए, 10 बार वी के लिए।
हाँ, तो अब मैं पूछ रही हूँ कि इनडायरेक्टली अगर हम 22 टाइम्स ना करके डायरेक्टली एक बार में सिलेक्ट करके कर देते, तब क्या डेटा डिफरेंट होता?
हाँ, तब डाटा डिफरेंट होता है। जैसे कि ये है मेरे पास, मैंने इसको क्या करना है, अगर मैं अलग अलग लेवल के लिए एक ही बार में डाटा में जाके अगर मैं डिसेंडिंग कर दूं, तो फिर ये क्या होगा, इसके साथ तो ये डिसेंडिंग हो गया, लेकिन फिर इसमें भी तो वही है ना, इसमें भी तो चेंज चाहिए हमें, तो इसमें चेंज करने के लिए हमें इसको अलग अलग करना पड़ेगा। अगर मैं इसमें डायरेक्टली डिसेंडिंग कर दूंगा तो फिर ये हो जाएगा इस फॉर्म में, जो कि हमारा पूरा मिक्सअप हो गया फिर।
नहीं, मैं इसकी बात
तो
नहीं
हमें
कर रही। नहीं, मेरी बात सुन। सपोज यहाँ पे तू एक सेल इंसर्ट, एक कॉलम इंसर्ट करता है और वहां पे 1 से लेके नंबरिंग स्टार्ट करता है, तो इन दैट केस अभी फिलहाल जिस फॉर्म में एक्सेल हमें मिलता है उसमें लैटिट्यूड्स उल्टा ऑर्डर में होते हैं और लेवल्स भी उल्टा ऑर्डर में होते हैं। तो अगर हम इस पूरे शीट को ही इन्वर्स कर देते तब लैटिट्यूड और लेवल्स दोनों राइट ऑर्डर में आ जाते हैं, तो वो डायरेक्टली क्यों नहीं कर सकते
नहीं
हम?
ना, लेवल्स में तो हमें पेस्ट करना है, इसलिए हमें उसको अलग अलग रखना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि हमें टॉप से बॉटम नहीं जाना है, तो हमें बॉटम से टॉप जाना है ना। लेकिन ये जो दे रहा है हमें, वो ये जो हमें दे रहा है टॉप से बॉटम दे रहा है, तो फिर हमें उस हिसाब से इसको चेंज करना पड़ेगा। और फिर उसके बाद हमें लैटिट्यूड भी चेंज करना है, लॉन्गिट्यूड भी चेंज करना है। सो इसीलिए दो पजल हो जाएगा फिर।
आई अंडरस्टैंड।
अच्छा, एक और क्वेश्चन मेरा। देख, अगर तूने लेवल एक लेवल को उठा के तूने रिवर्स किया ना, तो मतलब
हाँ।
तेरा ऊपर यू वाली वैल्यू तो फर्स्ट लेवल की ही आएगी।
हाँ
हाँ, मतलब ऊपर सबसे पहले सपोज तेरा फर्स्ट लेवल 100 से स्टार्ट है, तो ऊपर वाला सारा तेरा मैट्रिक्स 100 लेवल का होगा, नहीं? तो हमें ऊपर
अपना and
Yes,
ऐसा
sir.
है कि vertically does not matter. Vertically तुम 100 से स्टार्ट करो या 1000 से स्टार्ट करो, it does not matter. What matters is horizontally. That is very important. Horizontally तुम्हारा configuration एकदम सही होना चाहिए. Like it must go from south to north and from west to east. Right. Vertically it does not matter. तो उल्टा लेकर के लिखो चाहे सीधा लेकर के लिखो, नीचे से ऊपर जाओ चाहे ऊपर से नीचे आओ, that doesn't matter. Right. So what is most important is that your horizontal configuration data must be exact as per the specification, right? So Anisha, समझ रहे हो ना? It does not matter 1000 से शुरू करो या 100 से शुरू करो, it doesn't matter.
यस सर, वो फिर CTL फाइल के अंदर उसको चेंज कर देंगे तो उसके अकॉर्डिंग वो सेट हो जाएगा।
But that you can just ऊपर सीधा उल्टा नीचा तो प्रोग्राम में तुम कर सकते हो। ये प्रोग्राम को
यस सर।
हाँ, बहुत सारा जर्नलिस्टिक प्रोग्राम कोड के अंदर भी हो गया है। अगर नीचे से ऊपर लिखा है तो प्रोग्राम कोड को कवर दो उसको, राइट? तो दैट डजंट मैटर।
लेकिन यहाँ पे जो डाटा जो अरेंजमेंट है ना, वो डाटा अरेंजमेंट मतलब एक लेवल के लिए तो पूरा प्रॉपर वे में है, अगर आइदर वी गो अप टू डाउन और डाउन टू अप। लेकिन जब हम उसके कॉन्टेक्स्ट में आते हैं कि हमें नॉर्थ टू साउथ जाना है, साउथ टू नॉर्थ जाना है लॉन्गिट्यूड में, तो डाटा जो है रिवर्स ऑर्डर में, और हर लेवल के लिए अलग अलग रिवर्स ऑर्डर में है। जैसे इसमें पहले था हर मतलब सबके लिए इसमें उसी फॉर्म में था, तो फिर मुझे अलग अलग डाटा निकालना पड़ा सर। डाटा निकाल के फिर मुझे उसको चेंज करना पड़ा।
या एक्चुअली द थिंग इज दैट जो ग्राफ के सीरियल फाइल में स्टार्ट में 1000 में मिला है, 1000 900 and so on. So obviously, it will expect the data also in the same order in the data file. Okay, so lowest from lower to upper level, 1000 वो ग्राफ फाइल के लिए है, right? And that you can arrange inside your program code. जब आपने डेटा पढ़ लिया तो प्रोग्राम कोड के अंदर में तुम उसको अरेंज कर सकते हो नीचे से ऊपर तक, राइट?
Yes sir.
So according to this, we have two options. Either we can reverse the whole data collectively, or we can reverse that one pressure level, taking one pressure level at a time.
Exactly. That is what I was asking, Anish. That how does it matter if we do it directly or if we do it step by step? Because ultimate result तो same ही आएगा.
बट फिर अगर हमने दूसरे तरीके से किया तो हमारा तो फिर आना चाहिए था, बट इट्स नॉट कमिंग।
Exactly, it's not coming. हमने पूरा डेटा को रिवर्स किया था, बट हमारा एग्जैक्ट प्लॉट नहीं आ रहा है सर.
ये सब हो रहा है, ऐसे सब कर रहा है, क्योंकि लेवल बाय लेवल करके देखोगे तभी भी हो जाएगा। ऑल लेवल्स मतलब नीचे से ऊपर करके देखोगे तभी होगा, ऊपर से
श्वेता,
हम्म.
तुमने ये जैसे तुम बता रही थी अभी कि उसको कम्प्लीटली डायरेक्ट रिवर्स ऑर्डर में कर दिया और फिर प्लॉट किया, तो प्लॉट करने में प्रॉब्लम आ रही थी, मतलब सही प्लॉट नहीं हो रहा था।
नहीं आ रहा, मतलब प्लॉट नहीं आ रहा,
बहुत साइक्लोनिक सर्कुलेशन नहीं आ रहा है.
मैं जहां तक बता रहा हूँ कि जो प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है ना, इसमें डाटा अरेंज करने में प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है, वो जो है वो रिवर्स ऑर्डर में हो जा रहा है।
हाँ,
इसके
तब
कारण
वो
वो
पूछ रहे हैं
प्रॉब्लम
ना
आ
कि डाटा कैसे अरेंज किया।
एग्जैक्टली।
हाँ, वो इंडिविजुअल
नहीं देख, तूने किस मेथड से किया दैट इज नॉट इम्पोर्टेंट। हम पूछ रहे हैं कि तेरा डेटा किस फॉर्म में सेट है। सबसे पहले क्या है तेरा फर्स्ट मैट्रिक्स में, तेरा क्या है?
फर्स्ट मैट्रिक्स में मींस मैं समझा नहीं क्या पूछ रही हो।
मतलब
सबसे
सबसे
टॉप मोस्ट
वाली
डेटा क्या है?
values?
एक एक करके लो
हाँ, श्वेता बोल।
श्वेता बोल।
अनीश, मेरा क्वेश्चन है कि तेरा जो मैट्रिक्स है उसका वेरी फर्स्ट कॉलम में क्या है? वेरी फर्स्ट रो में, सॉरी, एकदम ऊपर में जो तेरा टेक्स्ट फाइल बन रहा है, सबसे ऊपर किसका डेटा है?
यू है 1000 लेवल का।
1000 लेवल का पूरा यू है, राइट?
हाँ,
उसके बाद क्या है?
उसके बाद 850 का यू है।
हाँ, तो अब मैं कह रही हूँ तूने इंडिविजुअली सबसे पहले एक एक लेवल स्टेप पकड़ा है, उसको कॉपी किया है, फिर उसको डिसेंडिंग ऑर्डर में किया है। अब तू एक्सेल शीट, ओरिजिनल एक्सेल शीट को देख। ओरिजिनल एक्सेल शीट में डेटा इस फॉर्मेट में गिवन है कि पहले सारा प्रेशर लेवल्स डिसेंडिंग ऑर्डर में है और इंडिविजुअल प्रेशर लेवल्स के लिए लैटिट्यूड्स भी डिसेंडिंग ऑर्डर में है। तो अगर हम उस पूरा डेटा की साइड में 1 से लेके जितना तक भी डेटा है, 1200 जितना तक भी है, उसको नंबरिंग करें और उस पूरे सेट को रिवर्स कर दे, तब हमारा 47th लैटिट्यूड का 1000 प्रेशर लेवल का डेटा सबसे ऊपर आएगा और लास्ट डेटा विच वी गेट इज 100 प्रेशर लेवल का 41 फर्स्ट लैटिट्यूड का डेटा। सो इनडायरेक्टली तूने जो 22 टाइम्स रिवर्स किया है उसको हम डायरेक्टली 2 टाइम्स में कर सकते हैं, लेकिन प्लॉट तो सेम आना चाहिए।
इस वजह से तुमने किया तो तुम्हारा प्रॉब्लम आ रहा था।
हाँ, नहीं, तेरा और मेरा कोड अलग था।
हाँ, प्रोग्राम के कारण भी प्रॉब्लम आ सकता है, क्योंकि जब हम उसमें
बिकॉज आई डोंट थिंक डेटा का अलग हो सकता है। तूने 22 टाइम्स अलग अलग स्टेप्स में एडिशन किया, मैंने एक बार में कर दिया। आई थिंक द डिफरेंस विच इज अराइजिंग इज ड्यू टू द कोड, नॉट बिकॉज ऑफ द डेटा अरेंजमेंट। क्योंकि मैंने सर वाला कोड यूज किया है, डू लूप लगाया है, लेकिन तूने इम्प्लाइड डू लूप्स लगाए हैं।
मैंने डू लूप लगा के किया था, उससे प्रॉब्लम आ रही थी।
एग्जैक्टली।
तुमने एम्प्लॉयड लूप लगाओ या दो लूप लगा दोनों का मीनिंग एक ही होगा।
नो सर, इट्स डिफरेंट। हमने वन प्रेशर लेवल के लिए भी करके देखा था। डू लूप के लिए डेटा थोड़ा अलग से रीड करता है, इम्प्लाइड डू के लिए अलग करता है।
No, your data structure is now उस फॉर्म में होना चाहिए ना।
Sir, data structure, even when the data structure is same, implied do loop and do loop gives different data. Implied do loop reads in one particular system, whereas normal do loops read in another particular system. We have tried. ये अनीश, मैंने और आशना ने किया हुआ है। हमने do loop लगाया था, आशना ने और मैंने, अनीश ने implied लगाया था। हमारा same data structure, same text file के साथ अलग plot आया था।
ठीक है, अगर ऐसा है तो जो एम्प्लॉयड लूप नीचे अनलिमिटेड किया उसी डेटा को अगर एम्प्लॉयड लूप लगा के रखोगे तो हो जाएगा।
Yes sir, yes sir. I'll check that.
मेरे ख्याल से that does not matter as long as your data is stored in a proper structure, whether you use the implied do loop or a random do loop, you use the same result. So data structure distribution is more important.
सर, हमारा डिस्कशन हुआ था उस दिन माइनर प्रोजेक्ट में, तो उसके बाद मैंने डू लूप लगा के ट्राई किया सर, लेकिन नहीं हो रहा था। प्रॉब्लम वही क्रिएट हो रहा था कि जो प्रॉपर प्लॉट है वो नहीं आ रहा था। तो फिर मैंने इस वे से किया तो इससे सही आया सर। उसमें डाटा रीड करने में ही प्रॉब्लम हो रही है सर। Yes, sir.
Sir, exactly. Same text file with the very same text file, do and implied do are giving two different results.
Shweta, sir is saying कि according to whatever you are applying, your data needs to be arranged depending on that. If you are applying do loop, your data needs to be arranged according to that, and if you are applying implied loop, your data needs to be arranged according to that.
Yeah, you're right.
Yes,
Like
exactly.
for last time, sir, when you told us about the do loops, you asked us to change the I and J's placement. So maybe that's what is mattering right now.
Yeah. So what I mean is that it is a simple problem, and one of you has been able to do it, so others will also should be able to do it. Okay, and just try and discuss with him also later on, not only in this class today, but also after the class also you can discuss with him and then try to set it right. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Then what about other students? Sayoni, are you there?
सर
Yes,
मैं
sir.
स्टॉप प्रेजेंट।
I'll tell you
Sir-
after this, after I talk to everyone, I'll tell you what is the next. Yeah, where we can. What is your problem?
Yes, sir. So, my problem is that I extracted the data using, I did for one pressure level, 850 HPA, and I extracted the data using NetPDF for Excel. I wrote the code, and then what I'm getting is like while running it, I'm getting a backtrace error. And like because of that, what is happening when I'm writing that writing the data in the data format, it in the data file, it nothing is getting written, it's just empty.
So maybe some other mistake in your program.
Yes, sir. But actually, first I tried using. I did on my own. I did using do loop. Then I talked with Shweta, and exactly what Shweta did, I did the same thing. But the problem is that I am getting a backtrace error with the exact same code.
Backtrace is different thing. See, Shweta had only correctly the plot of one level. Like, if you want to show it, दिखाओ ना, बताओ। You have only earlier wind plots at 850 millibar या 1000 millibar का दिखाया ना मैंने। Are you there? Shweta, do you see? Shweta, are you hearing?
Yes.
हाँ,
Hello. Sorry, sir. My mic was not unmuting. Yes, sir.
मैंने कहा कि पूरी एक मिनट या 1000 millibar का करके दिखाना था। Wind plots.
Sir, I didn't get you.
No, you have shown me earlier the wind vectors at 1000 millibar for your cyclone.
Yes, sir.
I was saying
Yes, sir.
इधर कोई backtrace error तो नहीं है ना?
नहीं सर, द कोड विच आई शोड शाइनी, मेरा उसमें कम्प्लीटली रन हो रहा है सर। उसी का मैंने आपको प्लॉट भेजा था। द प्लॉट विच आई मेल्ड यू सर, वही उसी कोड का था।
किया था तो साइलेंस able to do and everybody should be able to do। अब तो हम ये कहेंगे कि everybody should be able to do so only there is some problem।
शाइनी, कैन यू प्लीज म्यूट योर ऑडियो फॉर सम टाइम? यस सर। अब
मैं ये कह रहा था कि because you could do it for one level, so also Cyrus should be able to do for one level। अगर नहीं कर रही है तो there is some silly error in there in the program। There are sometimes silly error like you were committing mistake that day, CTL file में 2 level के बदले में 1 level डिक्लेयर कर रही थी, याद है तुमको?
sir, we can just ask Shiny to share the screen and we can like see
You
if
can
there.
discuss about yourself later on also what these things individually सबको अगर यहाँ पे डिस्कस कराएंगे तो take less time।
सर उसका डाटा स्ट्रक्चर वैसा नहीं होगा जिस फॉर्म में श्वेता का होगा सर, इसीलिए प्रॉब्लम एरर तभी आता है।
डेटा स्ट्रक्चर का प्रॉब्लम हो सकता है। बैकट्रैक इधर जो है, सो बैकट्रैक के लिए रन टाइम एरर, इसको कंपाइलेशन एरर, राइट? ये रन टाइम एरर। रन टाइम एरर का मतलब है कि देयर इज प्रॉब्लम इन योर डेटा स्ट्रक्चर। ओके, so Sayoni and
Yes, sir. Sir, but sir, when I'm running the code, it's showing me the backtrace error for the read command when I'm giving the V component, but it's not showing the same command I have given for the U component also. For U component, it's not giving any problem, but for V component, it's showing the error.
ये हुआ कि तुम्हारा डेटा फाइल में प्रॉपर्ली नहीं है, बी कंपोनेंट वाला डेटा तुम्हारे फाइल में स्टोर नहीं है प्रॉपर्ली, इसलिए हो रहा है। You get it? और यू कंपोनेंट में जो पढ़ रहा है, क्या पढ़ रहा है, कितनी पता नहीं पढ़ रहा है, कुछ पढ़ ले रहा है because some figures are available, data is available, so it is reading something, but whether it is reading the correct thing or not, that you are not sure unless you plot it properly। तो अगर बी में बैकट्रेस एरर आ रहा है तो उसका मतलब ये हुआ कि तुम्हारा डेटा वो पढ़ रहा है यू वाला, because it is able to get something, and by the time it reads B, the data is finished, so your data file is not properly created।
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. So I'll try it once again, sir. Okay, sir.
And
Yes,
then what are the problems? Then I discussed with Asna, Anil, Shweta, then Shivam. Shivam, what is your progress?
Yes sir, मैंने प्लॉट कर दिया।
कहाँ तक? What is your plot? What is your status?
सर सेम सर अनिश से मैंने हेल्प लिया था और अनिश जैसे किया है वैसे सही किया।
You are able to plot
और सर मैंने 1999 सुपर साइक्लोन का प्लॉट किया है
9 क्या?
सर 1999 सुपर साइक्लोन।
जो भी केस जो भी हो, लेकिन तुमने बिल्कुल उसी तरह से एरा डेटा को लेकर के then converted into text format, ASCII file, and then to the GRAD format, and then plot it, right?
यस सर यस।
So ठीक है, that's good. I'll ask you randomly to send me the plot for your cyclone case. Maybe you can mail me 850 millibar or 200 millibar का जो wind vector है, that you just mail me if you have done it correctly. Okay?
ओके
Vibhuti, what is your progress, Vibhuti? Vibhuti, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what is your progress? कुछ किया है कि नहीं किया अभी तक?
No, sir. I'm lagging too behind.
तो तुमको बहुत मेहनत करना पड़ेगा Vibhuti. You are lagging too much. थ्योरी में भी तुम लैग कर रहे हो, प्रैक्टिकल में भी तुम लैग कर रहे हो. Okay? So you have to, hard work. ऐसे नहीं काम चलेगा. Avni, you send me some email, right? Avni?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes,
मेरे
sir.
पास टाइम नहीं मिला है कि तुम्हारा email को मैं खोल के देखूं. But you send me something, and are you able to plot the 850 millibar? 70
No,
millibar?
sir. I just plotted for. I didn't plotted for the different level. I just plotted the cyclone for the one level,
So
using the just wind data.
which cyclone case was that?
Nargis,
Nargis.
2008.
So you could plot the Nargis wind vector for one level, 850 millibar or 1000 millibar.
1000 millibar.
तो अगर तुमने और कैसे किया, तुमने NC फाइल से डेटा एक्सट्रैक्ट कर करके ASCII में लाया, एक्सेल शीट के
Yes,
थ्रू?
sir. NC से एक्सेल फाइल में कन्वर्ट किया, देन उसके
हाँ.
बाद पर्टिकुलर टाइम के लिए टेक्स्ट फाइल में कन्वर्ट किया है,
Okay.
और उसके बाद रीड कमांड्स अनिश ने हेल्प की थी सर मेरी.
Okay, very good. So उसके बाद तुम GRADS में कन्वर्ट करके and then you plotted in GRADS, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So very good. So अगर तुमने एक लेवल का कर दिया तो बाकी लेवल का भी you should be able to do it.
Okay, sir.
Right. So you try to. So it's good that now your Linux is working, right? Linux work.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, so that is very good news. So now you should catch up quickly. Okay.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. Najmeen, what is your progress?
हेलो सर।
What is your progress?
सर मैंने किया था, लेकिन मेरी भी साइनिंग जो बोल रहे हैं सेम वैसी प्रॉब्लम आ रही है सर.
सारी वाला प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है, तो तुम्हारा भी
Yes, sir.
वही दिक्कत नहीं है.
यस सर.
हाँ, तो तुम डिस्कस करो आपस में अनीस के साथ, पिता के साथ, and then you try to correct the problem. Okay.
ओके सर.
Right. What about Haritasri? Are you there, Haritasri?
Sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. Sir, I plotted for one level only. I don't have Excel, so I used a different software, so it took time for me.
So
Sir.
are you able to plot for one level?
Yes, sir. I plotted for one level. Now I'm extracting for the other levels.
Uh-huh. So
Yeah,
you are
I'll finish it by today.
.csv, something like that. You were showing me that day. .csv.
Yes, sir. I didn't .csv only.
Okay. So okay, so Haritasri, you will try to finish by
Yes, sir.
today.
I'll finish it by today. Sir, but I've taken only 7 levels till now.
Take all the levels, because the next exercise which I will give you
Okay.
will depend on the number of levels. So I want everybody to be uniform. Okay.
Sir, and for 850, I plotted the divergence, but most of it is 0. I don't know why.
So there is some problem. I will talk about that divergence bodicity
Yeah,
later on.
yes, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah. So you do for the rest of the levels, okay, and
Okay,
then and then send me some selected levels like 850, 100. You send me the wind vector plots, okay.
Yes, sir.
Right. And then who is next? Gitesh, are you there? तो बहुत सारे लोग तो छोटी चले गए लगता है. Only I see 7 or 8 people are there. Gitesh, are you there? Gitesh नहीं है. So और कौन बच गया? I will see only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Sir, Adira got disconnected because there's no power there. Yeah, it's raining there, so power gone.
So anyway, so what I mean is that Now that at least you know the procedure, and Anis has been able to do it for all the levels. So I believe that all of you should be able to do that. Haritasri, your procedure is slightly different, but doesn't matter. You could do it for one level, so you should also be able to do for the other levels, right?
Yes, sir.
So once that is done, now the next thing which I was talking is that you should try to compute the divergence and vorticity. All of you should try to compute divergence and vorticity using your UV field at all the levels, because now the program is simple. You just put a loop and it will compute for all the levels. अभी तक तो मेन था कि डेटा ही तुम्हारे पास नहीं था. Now you have got the data and you have got a good data. It is not just 10 by 10, but it has got now bigger domain like 47 by 47 matrix, and even bigger than that also you have got, right? So you have got a very good data set at good resolution, 0.75 भी है, किसी के पास 1 degree resolution भी है. So now you compute the divergence and vorticity and plot the contour fields for the divergence and contour fields for the vorticity, okay, for all the levels, and then show me the plot of the contour of the divergence and vorticity, okay, and show me this in the next class. Next class means you can show me even before the Thursday, because we are going very slow. See, after this I will give you the next task for computation of vertical velocity. That will be after the divergence and vorticity. So I want that in the next Thursday class, I would like to discuss the vorticity and vertical velocity computation, right? So therefore, divergence and vorticity, all of you must compute and send me the file by email. Is that okay with all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So all of you will compute divergence and vorticity for all the levels, and then send me the plots by email, so that in next class, the next Thursday class, we will directly go on to the computation of vertical velocity. Okay.
So for del X and del Y will be resolution into 100 kilometers, right?
Whatever is your resolution in that case, era ka data ka whatever resolution you have extracted, what resolution, 0.75 or 1 degree?
7.5. Yes,
Okay,
7.5.
so accordingly you put the resolution 0.75 degree. Okay. Degree means you convert that into kilometer. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So for your resolution, whatever resolution data that you have extracted, whether it is 0.75 or 1 degree, you have to put your resolution accordingly, right? If it is 0.75, then 0.75 converted into kilometer, approximately 75 kilometer, and if it is 1 degree, then approximately 100 or 110 kilometer. So use that and then compute the divergence and vorticity and plot the contours. You can also do some shading also in this case, because contour alone is a very small value. So you can do shading also if you want to. But clearly send the plot with all the levels, like what is the field, name of the field, what is the unit of that, all those things should write on the diagram. Okay. So I expect all of you to complete this exercise before the next class, and I will discuss the vertical velocity computation in the next class, and after that I'll talk about the computation of stream function. Okay. After you have completed the velocity potential, then I will talk about the computation of the stream function. There you have to solve a Laplacian. So far, so you have not solved a Laplacian, right? So that will be your next Thursday class. Okay. Everybody is listening?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So Laplacian computation will be after next Thursday. Okay. And we have very less time left, because 15th of October we have to complete the syllabus, and today is already 17th of September, so less than 1 month time is there. So we will have hardly 4 practical classes left, and in that 4 practical classes, a lot of things to be done. Vertical velocity computation, the solution of the Laplacian, computation of the stream function, and after that I wanted you to do some exercise of the WRF model, using directly WRF model. And I wanted to tell something about the WRF model, because I don't know whether some of you have studied through the tutorial, but I thought that I should tell you about the overall structure of the WRF model, features and the physics, etc. So that I will cover after that. Okay. So these are the things which I wanted to cover in your NWE practical class, which has to be completed in 1 month's time, right? So now we should go faster. So far, so we're going very slow, but I think now we have to go faster. Is that okay? All of you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Good. So fine, today I think is already 1:45. So we have to stop, and we'll meet now formally next Monday, Monday class. All right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
See you.
Thank you, sir.